Alright, in this special Pokemon series, my favorite types, it is solely based off of which Pokemon I happen to like. It has nothing to do with stats, it has nothing to do with, is this a top tier Pokemon? It just has to do with my opinion and how I prefer these Pokemon over others of their types. So for the first video, I'm going to do the normal type because, well, I'm going to do them in the order that I organize my boxes within the game, so bear with me. Now, the first Pokemon that I have on this list, and this list is not on any specific order, it's just how I wrote them down and I'm going off my list. So, the first one, in spite of the horrifying experience we have all had in Goldenrod City with this Pokemon, is Miltank. I really like this Pokemon. Tauros being super offense-oriented and this Pokemon being defense-oriented, it seemed like a good balance between the two, and it being introduced as the female counterpart to Tauros, and that gym battle itself was to showcase that the Pokemon have genders, because it had a track, was pretty unique. I liked it, and it does have a nice design. I mean, it is designed by the same team who did the Gen 1 Pokemon, and, well, to be very honest, I'm not a Gen 1er, but I do like this Pokemon for its design, and it has, Milk Drink, which is a pretty unique move onto itself, and then it has Heal Bell, like it was just so cow-oriented, and I actually did use one throughout Pokemon Stadium, because I found there was a lot of Pokemon within that game that would use Minimize, and that Stomp move would do double damage and always be sure to hit, so my Miltank really saved me there. I played Pokemon Silver so much that I was actually able to find a very rare shiny Miltank. This is back before there was all those methods to get shinies, so, Miltank is a special Pokemon to me for that. Next on the list, I very much love Hoenn, so there had to be at least one Hoenn Pokemon on this list, but actually there is more than one. Vigoroth. Yeah, you would think that Slaking would be the choice, but Slaking is pretty much Pokemon's answer to Yu-Gi-Oh's Goblin Attack Force. But Vigoroth, on the other hand, after dealing with Slakoth, is awesome. It has that Vital Spirit ability in which it is unable to be put to sleep. And it's so strong, I mean, considering that its evolved form is a pseudo-legendary, this mid-form does pack a punch. And even its ability, like, it has a move called Slack Off, which heals its health. It can use Yawn, which tandems very well with Focus Punch. A lot of people call it Miss Punch. And to be quite honest, it's so cool looking. I know for the advanced generation, they were trying to go with futuristic and stylized and streamlined Pokemon, but this one's very simple looking and it's very pleasing aesthetically. Next on the list is Zangoose. Now, Zangoose has been a Pokemon that stays on my team for generations. It's not just because it's a particularly powerful Pokemon. No, this is my False Swiper. This is the Pokemon that I use to catch Pokemon with. Zangoose has an incredibly high attack, and it's very expedient. But, again, it's my catcher. Now, I did breed a Zangoose to be a more competitively battling-oriented Pokemon. Its signature move, or at least at the time, when it came out, Crush Claw, could lower the opponent's defense, and Crush Claw itself is very strong. It can also learn Slash, and it can use Close Combat, X-Scissor. It has a lot of good moves that it can do, but overall, again, it's a very nice looking Pokemon. Now the next Pokemon on the list is one that I used for Pokemon Stadium 2, because obviously it's for Pokemon Silver. Girafarig. I know Girafarig's normal and psychic, but I like to think it's more towards the normal side than it is towards the psychic side. Even though its attacks are kind of lackluster, it's in the middle. It does learn a lot of strong moves, and you can use it in a mixed attacking way, which I prefer. But still, its unique design, you don't see many Pokemon like that. Its name is spelled the same way forwards and backwards, and well, it's a Pokemon that I like. Now, I did use Future Sight with it, but also I have to say that it's just a fun Pokemon. How can you not like it? I'm not really all that fond of giraffes, but this one I like. Next on the list is Blissey. Chansey was a really rare Pokemon back in the first generation, and in the second generation, having an evolved form, that made me like it even more, just based off the rarity of it. However, I can't really say that that was a good reason to like this Pokemon, though I did take it with me, along with Miltank sometimes, not that at the same time, mind you. When I was training a weaker Pokemon to level it up, I could use that soft-boiled ability, because Chansey had so much health, Blissey had even more. I never actually used the Skarm Bliss tactic for double battles, and I've never actually used Blissey for that Serene Grace and light screens and all of that. I just liked the Pokemon. I never actually used it in any like serious battles. So, yeah. The next Pokemon on the list is Kangaskhan. This Pokemon is very special to me because, well, again, it's a very nice looking Pokemon, but moreover, it was only able to be caught in the Safari Zone back in Gen 1. So, this made things very difficult. It had a very low capture rate, and as a result, I would stay in this one part of the Safari Zone where there was Kangaskhan, Tauros, and Dratini was in the water. Those were the last 3 I needed for the Pokedex, excluding the fact that Dratini had to evolve, but still, I was able to get a Dratini and a Tauros before Kangaskhan. Or was Tauros the last one I caught? In any case, I do believe Kangaskhan was the last one that I caught, and it was the last one I needed for the Pokedex. So, I liked using Kangaskhan because it was so hard to get. I wanted to make sure the one I got, I used quite a bit. Its signature move of Dizzy Punch was awesome. Now, in recent generations, I've enjoyed using it because it has the parent and child ability when it Mega Evolves. While that doesn't really put it into any of my rosters per se, using Mega Kangaskhan is pretty fun because it attacks twice, in a sense, even if the second attack isn't quite as strong as the first. But still, Kangaskhan remains as one of the most unique Pokemon just for its design and the fact that it carries a child with it. You know, going on about how Pokemon, you know, it was ahead of its time in that there were baby Pokemon, which was something that you couldn't do. Though the designers wanted to do that in Gen 1, they just couldn't because it wasn't, like, programmable at the time, I recall. The final Pokemon on the list is one that I think people forget about a lot, and that's Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is a duck Pokemon that carries a leek with it. It uses the leek to battle, and if you do your breeding right, you can teach it Leaf Blade. So it actually is a flying type that can use a strong grass move to fight off rock types, which it's predominantly weak against. But, moreover, Farfetch'd is a really cool looking Pokemon, and I did use it in a playthrough just to prove to myself that I could use any combination of Pokemon in Gen 1 to beat the game with. Although, if you got it in Gen 1, you were stuck with it being named Dux. D-U-X. Farfetch'd didn't really get any grass moves until much later on, but even so, you always wanted to believe that this Pokemon could be, like, super good. And while it is a very nice Pokemon, it's pretty fast, it does the job. It just gets outshined by so many other flying types, but to me, this one's more normal, and yeah, there is Doduo who's not really a flyer, but I don't really care for Doduo. So, Farfetch'd, you made the list simply because you are a Pokemon that, whenever I see, it puts a smile on my face. So let me know about your favorite normal type Pokemon in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, check me out on Patreon to support the gaming portion of this channel, and make sure to go to the right hand column and check out some of my other videos. Until the next installment, thank you so much for watching, and, you know, until next time, keep on battling with your Pokemon.